You are now listening to the Backlook Cinema Podcast with Zach and Zoe. Thank you for joining us as we talk about the movies of yesteryear. You can reach us on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter by searching for Backlook Cinema. Check our show notes for more info. And now, let's get it in.
Hi, my name is Zachary.
Hi, I'm Alonzo. Welcome, fam, to the Backlook Cinema Podcast with Zach and Zoe. So this is awesome. This is the second episode. Thank you for joining us. I'd just like to point out that the last time we did this recording on the first episode, I misnamed our own podcast. I call it that day I called it the Backlook Media or something. That was wrong. The name of this podcast is Backlook Cinema. Are we clear?
Yes,
clear?
we're clear.
Oh,
yes, we know
excellent.
what the name is.
Now we know. Now I'm the one who messed it up. So anyways, let me ask you something. What have you been doing lately? What books have you been reading? What games have you been playing? What have you been up to?
I haven't been reading no books. I've been playing a game called Warframe, and I hate it with a passion because the RNG is complete, utter garbage.
Okay, all right. Well, that's good. All I've been doing is working on this podcast.
I know. Also, you don't know what RNG is. It's basically when you're playing a game, you have to constantly grind for materials. It gives you a slight percentage of getting good stuff. And in Warframe, I want to get a prime Warframe. But the fact that I have to grind endless for one relic to make it radiant and then go off with 3 other people to get it is annoying. Because half the time, it gives you something common or uncommon, and I want the one thing that's in the rare section, which is so hard to get that you end up grinding almost endlessly, around 5 times.
Yeah, I can't help you with that.
I know you can.
But actually, Avengers is kind of the same way. It's basically a grinder. It's endless grinding. Even Mortal Kombat 2 is kind of like that. Mortal Kombat 11. Because say you're in the crypt and you want to get a special item, some of the items are locked behind achievements that you have to do in the actual Mortal Kombat game. What I had been working on before I paused playing that game was collecting the heads of all of the main combatants so that I can unlock this area in the crypt.
Oh, yeah, you had to get 100 of those. Ooh, yeah, that's real fun.
It's a lot. That's a lot of gameplay. That's a lot of fatalities. There's a lot of brutalities.
Because
now
that's worse than in Mortal Kombat now, where you had to spill a lot of blood just to get that one achievement.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that kind of achievement. I just want to move further in the crypt. So,
good luck with that.
But right now I'm playing. What's that game called? Open Worlds, Outer Worlds. It's basically it's a nice relaxing game. It's a nice soothing game, and people tell me it's like a what's that? The one with the radiation with the pipe boy.
Fallout.
Yeah, it's a lot like Fallout. I've never played Fallout.
It's basically the successor to Fallout New Vegas, what people would have said, because Fallout 4 was decent, and Fallout 76 is utter garbage.
Yeah, that's what I heard too. I haven't played any Fallout game. I once bought a Fallout game, but I only bought it so I could sell it on eBay. So. Never got to play it.
I mean, you got like 2 of them, and that's the PS4, the Fallout 4 and Fallout 3.
Right. So, but yeah, it's a nice game. It's got some shooting in it, but mostly it's like a series of complex problem solvings. So it's a lot of fetch it quests. It's a lot of it's a lot of like. Sometimes you want to try to solve problems without having to kill anybody. So I've been engaged in doing a lot of those quests.
Yeah, I can't do that. No. If I have to kill it, it looks like that's what I'm going to do in that game.
You can do that. You can basically shoot everybody in a game, but I'm not interested in doing... I like a creative problem solving.
No, I can't. I need to get rid of my problems easy and quick so I can get to my next objective.
Because sometimes you can be like, well, perhaps that... Well, there are 3 main ways in the dialogue you can solve your problems. You can intimidate people, you can lie to people, or you can persuade people. So I like using those tactics. And
looks like I'm intimidating a lot of people.
Yeah. So also, I started reading, besides the podcast I've been listening to, I started a new audiobook, The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin. It's a weird book. It's like people, I guess, the gist of the book is that all the major cities in the world they have the ability to become sentient, and they become sentient to individuals that they pick, and it's weird from the get-go. It's a weird book, but I'm enjoying its weirdness.
I'm sure you would, because you had a book about electric sheeps dreaming, or if they dream.
Oh, no,
yeah, I
that's-
remember that car trip where you had that CD playing, and
That
I was
was-
like, "What is this nonsense I'm hearing in the car?"
That what you were listening to was a short story called I think it's called "Do Androids Dream of Electric Sleep?" I think that's what it's called. Anyway, that is a famous short story, and it's by Dick something. Hold on, something Dick. Anyway, he wrote Blade Runner, and that's why that short story is significant. And Philip K. Dick, see, I knew I would get it. Philip K. Dick wrote a lot of stuff that got turned into movies. So especially at around the time Blade Runner came out, you see like I think what you call it. I'm trying to think of the movie where they went to Mars. Total Recall. I think that's also a Philip K. Dick novel. That one where Minority Report, that is also a Philip K. Dick novel. He just wrote a bunch of stuff. And normally when they change it dramatically when they make it into movies, it's almost unrecognizable. They basically take the gist of his ideas and give him credit for the movie. So yeah, so that's what you were listening to. And anyway, moving on to the podcast, in honor of Sean Connery's death, we want to talk about the movie that we just finished watching, and that movie was
The Hunt for Red October.
The Hunt for the Red October. Now, it's a fabulous movie, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. The last time we talked about Rambo: First Blood Part 2, and Zachary here thought it was just okay, which is fine. That's a fair assessment. So what did you think of this movie?
It was good.
All right. It's a much different movie from the last two movies we've seen, because this is more of a kind of a slow moving action thriller, or more like I guess that's a fair assessment. What would you say?
Yeah, someone like that.
Yeah.
You know, playing chess is more of it.
Right. It's kind of like an action game of chess. This movie came out in November. Oh, wait a minute. No, did it come out in 1984 or 1990? Or I'm getting this all confused. No, it came out in 1990. It was set in November 1984, but it came out in 1990. And it stars, like I mentioned, Sean Connery. It also starred a very young Alec Baldwin. You remember Alec Baldwin from currently he's doing all of the President Trump impersonations on Saturday Night Live. He was also on 30 Rock for a long time, but he was also in a bunch of different movies, especially around that time. But they also had Scott Glenn, Sam Neill. You remember Sam Neill from Jurassic Park?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Also, did he look familiar?
No, he didn't. He looked off.
Yeah, he was much younger. What was the other thing that he was just? Oh, he was the Red Skull. So this is be the second time I've seen him affecting the German accent. No, that was German. This time he was Russian. Okay,
Yeah.
but affecting a different accent.
You're getting it confused. Right there.
Right. Yes. Wait. He was the Red Skull. What else did he do just recently? I can't remember. It seemed like he was. I know that he's supposed to be returning to Jurassic Park. I think he was also in a movie with. Actually, I'm forgetting everybody now. He was in a scary space movie. You guys know what it is. I can't remember what it is right now. Also, James Earl Jones. James Earl Jones is in there. He was. This movie had an all-star cast, or at least nearly so. James Earl Jones plays Admiral Greer, and I have the speakers on the TV, they're turned up way low to the bass, so it's like when he speaks, it comes in real clear. There's also Joss Ackland, Richard Jordan, Peter Firth. I don't really know those guys, but I do know Tim Curry. Tim Curry has been in a lot of movies. His famous one was I don't want to say Little Shop of Horrors, but it has something with the word horror in it. The Rocky Horror Picture Show. That's his most famous role. He's been in a bunch of movies, but that's the one where when you talk about Tim Curry, that's the thing that people think about. I also had Courtney B. Vance. He's currently in Lovecraft Country in a very important role in that show. Stalin Skarsgård, you remember him?
No.
What did he play? It says Captain Tupolev. He was on I think he was on one of the regular surface boat. But anyway, he played, I think it was in Thor: The Dark World. He was the scientist that was Jane Foster's mentor, and he had gone crazy from the first movie or from the Avengers movie when Loki stuck his staff on him and he turned evil. Yeah. Right. He helped Thor in the remember his past in a special wishing pool or whatever in that weird moment. And I guess it was one of the Avengers movie, the one with Ultron.
Yeah,
but
the second one.
Right, but in Thor: The Dark World, he had gone crazy. He was running around naked. And there's also Jeffrey Jones, Timothy Carhart, Fred Thompson, a few others. But those was like the top bill staff. This is the sausage fest. Like a lot of action movies in the '80s, there are very few females present, unlike in today's movies. Wouldn't you say?
Oh yeah, there's a lot more females in movies now than there was before.
Right, like if
unless it's a horror film, then that's completely different.
Right. Like in Rambo, First Blood Part 2, they only had that one female that was helping him out.
Yeah, his love interest.
And then she got shot away, and because somebody had to die.
Someone important, yeah.
Right. And in this one, there were 3 women who had speaking roles. There was, well, probably 4. There was a little girl, his daughter. There was his wife, played by Gates McFadden, who was Barbie Crusher on Star Trek: The Next Generation. And there was the stewardess, and that was it. Oh, and then there was a second stewardess at the very end. But that we saw from the behind, so it could have been the same woman.
Could have been, who knows?
Right. So, let's see. There was also, it was directed by, let me look this up. It was directed by John McTiernan. Now, I didn't realize this. Like I said, in the early days, I hadn't paid too much attention to the director. Well, I didn't realize that Mr. McTiernan, he also directed Die Hard. He directed Rollerball, which was a really not good rollerball movie with LL Cool J, because you're treating rollerball like it's a real sport. It's not a real sport, so it's kind of hard to take it seriously. He also directed Arnold Schwarzenegger in Predator. He directed The Last Action Hero. He directed Basic, which I hate with all my heart. I hated that movie. I was like, why is this movie in existence?
But because people paid to see it and people put money towards it, so they wanted it.
I guess. It was based on the novel by Tom Clancy. It's interesting that they had been trying to adapt this novel for movies for a long time, and Tom Clancy's novels are so thick. If you were to present that for somebody to read, they'd be like, no, I ain't reading that. They'd be like, I'll shoot you before I read that. It's thicker than a dictionary. And it's like nobody could really convince a studio head to read. Because it's like, what the studios usually do is that, if they want to adapt a book into a movie, they get like a cliff notes of the book or like a summary of the book. They don't want to read the whole book. They get like a little summary of the book. But you can't do that with the Tom Clancy novels. It is impossible. So somebody finally convinced some studio head to actually read the whole book, and he read it. So he was able to figure out why it should be adapted to film. They found some screenwriters, Larry Ferguson, Donald E. Stewart, and David Schaber happens to be uncredited, and they was able to hash it out and make this into a watchable film. It's one of the greatest movies that came out in that era. It's been said to be one of the best submarine movies ever written.
Listen, I'm pretty sure the reason why the book is so thick is because he goes into so many details that are not even necessary to be there. That he's like, you know what, this is what's happening along with this happening, and then this is happening at the same time too, all in one setting.
Yeah,
and you can see that's happening in the movie where you have people in the submarine just moving around, going off what they need to be saying.
Yeah, I've read a Tom Clancy novel. I probably even read this novel, and he goes. Let me tell you, he goes deep into details. He'll tell you the serial number of a cigarette if he felt like it. He'll do it. He's like, don't make him do it. Don't do it. I like the way the movie, it kind of started off with the Russian speaking Russian, and then they get this slick transfer where they start speaking English because they want you to understand that they're still speaking Russian, or they don't want to do the subtitle thing. So that's why they switched up like that, and that was brilliant.
I mean, that makes sense. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that would have been a pain to have these actors continue to speak Russian.
Right.
Because they already had them singing in Russian.
Right. And then in this particular movie, what's interesting is that there was another actor that they had wanted to play Sean Connery's role. I think his name was Captain Remus or something like that. And that actor broke his leg, so he couldn't do it. So they got Sean Connery. He actually spent some time aboard the USS Puffer to prepare for the role. He was actually allowed to give actual commands on a U.S. Navy vessel, but it was actually just the captain whispering into his ear so that he could give the command. There was the hairpiece that he's wearing. Did you know that it was a toupee? No. Yeah, he had already started going bald at that point. It's a beautiful toupee, wouldn't you say?
Oh, yeah.
You can't even really tell.
You don't even tell.
You can't even tell.
Oh, that's his natural hair right there.
It's $20,000. But do you know why it's $20,000?
Pretty sure there's a reasonable explanation.
Yeah, here's what happened. He desperately wanted for his character to have a ponytail. A ponytail that nobody liked it, but he's a huge star. He actually went to the producers like, I need this ponytail. I need this ponytail.
It is necessary for my character to have this
ponytail.
Ponytail.
Right. And they had actually shot a few scenes. And what happened was that one of the crew members, he had looked at it and started laughing at him. And he said it looked like a limp dick. and so, and he was so embarrassed by that, he decided he didn't want it no more. They had to redo his entire toupee. They found a $10 piece for him to use, and because they had to do reshoots, they cost $20,000 for the reshoots. That's the story of the $20,000 toupee. They originally wanted. See, this is part of a bunch of movies that's about this character Jack Ryan. It was A Hunt for Red October. There's Patriot Games. There's a lot of other movies that stars Jack Ryan. Currently, there's a Jack Ryan series on Amazon right now. So they originally wanted Harrison Ford to do Jack Ryan for The Hunt for the Red October. He had previously starred with Sean Connery in Indiana Jones, the third Indiana Jones movie. What was that one? Do you remember?
No.
Indiana Jones. I don't remember.
Because the only one I can remember is the one that people don't really like, and that's the Crystal Skull.
The Kingdom of the Crystal Skulls.
Yeah, people don't like that one.
Have you seen any of the Indiana Jones movies?
No, I have not.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, we'll put that on the list. We will put that on the list. What was that? I think it was The Last Crusade. Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade. So in that movie, Sean Connery played his father. So when they talked to him about doing this movie, he's already a big star. He didn't want to do it because he thought that it focused too much on Sean Connery's character. So he didn't. So they got Alec Baldwin instead.
Oh, how wrong he was.
Well, here's what happened. When they went on to do the sequel, they got Harrison Ford.
Oh yeah, because he was like, "Oh wait, I was wrong. Let me go ahead and get that sequel. Go ahead."
I don't know if it's because he thought it was wrong or they tuned the script in such a way where he felt comfortable being the star because he was already a star. He didn't have to do. It's not like he was hurting for money. It's like, oh, I missed that boat. I should have did that movie. I don't think that's why it was. I think because it wasn't him approaching the producers, they approached him again. It's like, could you please do it for the sequel? And he must have. And we wrote a script, so you're the star. And he was probably like, okay, I'll do it this time. And so he did it for the two other sequels that did it in that era. So let's see, what else happened? I guess we talked enough about trivia and whatnot. So so in the movie, they went in depth about like naval warfare, naval tactics. All of that was extremely interesting. I was engrossed in the submarine movements, how the naval officers communicated. It was so convincing that when officials at the Pentagon saw the movie, they thought that the caliber drive was real, and they were demanding, why don't we know about this? How did they have this technology? It's like, no, this is fiction. They don't have this technology. We made it up.
I mean, can you really blame them? It's a movie. They're gonna really think it's real.
I don't think so. They ought to know enough.
They're looking at it. Another thing, it's Tom Clancy. He's going into detail about what's going on. This is something the Navy, the Pentagon will be like, oh, wait, this is real.
They should have figured that out when they read the book. They should have been reading the book. It's like,
I'm pretty sure they saw that book and said, no, I got enough papers on my desk.
Yeah, that's probably it. A lot of what you call it, the special effects and whatnot. Like, did you know that the submarines were never actually underwater?
Oh, from the look of it, I can tell it was never underwater from where the water was, especially when they dropped the torpedo.
Right. All of that was special effects. All of the crazy stuff that it did. It's like my mind is just swimming with all of the images.
I'm not really gonna believe that there's a submarine that's just gonna use the water itself to move around in silence.
Well, they said they tried to get it to work. They use electromagnetism. They somehow was able to use electromagnetism to draw the water into the boat and shoot it out.
Like a squirt.
Yeah, squirt it out, and that was supposed to propel the boat. That's sort of how jet fighters work. They suck in air, and the air pushes them through the sky. So that's what the caterpillar drive was supposed to do, except it was supposed to do silently. And they sailed into history.
Oh my
God. It was just, I like the way it just brilliantly came together, how they had a plan for getting to America, but they didn't really have a plan for the actual defection. They knew that they would need the Americans' help. And then on the American side, Jack Ryan figured out that he was going to get his crew off. He figured out how he was probably going to get his crew off. He's like, how are we going to keep the boat? Well, we got to pretend to blow it up.
Yeah, that's the only way.
Right. I just thought that the way that turned out was pretty brilliant how they put that together.
I mean, his plan was a 50-50 chance of either winning or losing, either being blown up by the Americans or being blown up by his own country. It was a 50-50 chance of winning that.
Actually, it was worse. He said it was 1 in 3. And he was all calm about it. Gentlemen, I put this shot about 1 in 3. And he just started drinking his tea like Kermit the Frog. Everybody looking at him like he's crazy.
You would too if you was on that submarine. And you're thinking you're carrying out a normal mission. But no, you turn out, oh, wait, we're betraying our own country. Okay, that's good to know. Our captain's insane.
Yeah, well, here's what happened. He handpicked his own officers. So they were in the loop. They knew that they wanted to defect. That's why you had his first officer, Sam Neill. He kept talking about going to Montana. So they knew that they was going to defect all the officers except who?
The doctor.
The doctor.
I mean, it's like, oh, yeah, everyone on the crew is like, oh, yeah, Caswell is about this, mission, doing this. All right, there's the orders. Then, they have their little meetings like, all right, guys, we're going to go follow through all the way, 100%. Are you crazy? Yes, I am. We're doing it 100%.
No,
We're not
here's the
backing
thing
out.
though. That they before they had that meeting, they made sure the doctor had something to do. They locked
I
the
was
doctor
like,
out of the meeting.
all right, sir, we need you to go do this right now, right now,
Right now.
all right, he's gonna lock the door. He ain't coming back here.
Right. Yeah, we need that right now.
And
You
the
get
captain,
on that.
the captain's the only one still eating.
Right.
I'm like, this man's really not gonna talk at all.
Right.
He's just gonna continue to eat his food like it's all casual.
Yeah, it is. To him, it's casual. He not. Well, he has the air of being cool, calm, and collected, so he's gonna maintain that. It's like when he knew he told the boat to go faster, and nobody wanted to go faster when they was sailing through those canyons. And you have to have the right time. You have to time it just right.
And then you see this man counting.
Right, you have the counting with a stopwatch and everything, and he just tightens his seatbelt.
Catches his little teeth.
Right. And then when it turns, he just stops it so the teeth doesn't go over. That was all brilliant.
Then it got worse when there was a torpedo after them. And then he's like, all right, keep going forward. Keep going. It's like, Captain, we're going to hit a rock. Now turn.
Right. Yeah.
They all looked at him like, what is wrong with this man? This man could have gotten us killed.
Nah, he knew what he was doing. That's why he's at the level that he is. That's why he has the steam that he does, because he's able to make decisions that a more incompetent captain couldn't make. That's when they was out running the missile, when they was in the canyons, and it was like, turn now, Captain.
No.
Turn now, Captain. We have to turn. You're relieved. He said, now turn, and then the missile missed him. So that was brilliant. I like that. So this has been a great conversation so far. We are going to take a break. We have our sponsor again is Spacer's Choice. Remember, Spacer's Choice. It's not the best choice. It's Spacer's Choice.
From plasma rifles to energy drinks, you can trust the family at Spacer's Choice to provide for your needs. Spacer's Choice has been the choice for everyone from the long-haul freight captain to the hotel concierge for decades. With dependable quality and build, you can trust Spacer's Choice for your every need. Need an extra boost of energy to get you through your workdays? Then try our famous Adrenatime Enhancers. Need to quench your thirst? Then try our dehydrated water tablets. Need to deal with some pesky marauders? Then you can rely on our durable yet affordable suite of self-defense options such as the Good Word, which is our best-selling light machine gun. Yes, folks, for whatever you may need, you can trust the family at Spacer's Choice to have a ready solution for you. We are conveniently located everywhere there may be human life, as our vending machines are at hundreds of locations. Just use code BACKLOOK at checkout at our official Spacer's Choice vending machine to get a 20% discount. This offer may not be available from Earth. And remember, Spacer's Choice. It's not the best choice, it's Spacer's Choice.
And we're back. Thank you for staying with us. So I want to ask you, Zachary, did you like the movie?
Yeah, I said I liked it. It was okay. It was good. It was very good. It was a good movie.
So this was a slightly different pace than some of the other movies that we have watched. I would focus mainly on the action movies, the razzle-dazzle, the explosion, the guns. But I thought I would take us in a different direction, because I was either going to do The Rock, and that's also with Sean Connery, and Nicolas Cage, or I was going to do this movie. I was like, well, this movie is cheaper, so let's do this movie. And I thought we could do with a different pace, a different style, if you will. So tell me, what do you like about the movie?
The parts I like, well, the part I really like is when the U.S. Navy, they fire a missile, then you see them open up a little compartment, you see a hand come over, and as she's getting closer to 300 knots, click on the button. It's like, all right, you didn't see nothing. I was, never here, blah-de-da-de-da. See this badge? There you go. Now you know. The submarine was taken down. Okay, let's wrap it up. And also, you have the Russians, on safety, just cheering like, look, the captain's fighting you, America, yeah! And I'm like, what is wrong with you people? You don't even, I understand you don't understand what's going on, but come on. You said that every time, oh, look, he drove the Americans out of the water. I'm like, oh. I'm like, go ahead, be clueless. You're clueless. I don't care no more. You're irrelevant now.
Yeah, that was actually part of the plan. What he's talking about is the main objective of the Russian submarine captain was to get to America and hand over the sub to the Americans. He could only do that with his senior officers. He couldn't. He picked his senior officers, the ones who wanted to defect to America, and he was able to get everyone to do it but his doctor. In the beginning of the movie, there was a Russian officer. He wasn't necessarily a military officer, but he was a member of like the KGB, and his job was to watch the captain, and basically he was like co-captain of the ship, and he was murdered almost immediately by Captain Remus.
He was like, my plan would not be foiled by this one ungrateful dot.
Right.
There was no evidence. He slipped on T. See, look,
Right.
there's T on the floor. He slipped.
He slipped on T. That was the official. But they knew, because his officer was there, they knew that there had to be another spy there.
There's like, wait a minute. He did not slip on T. What are you talking about?
Right. So they had his plan was to get the crew off, because obviously the entire crew was not going to defect. It's like a crew of maybe 100 seamen, so they're not going to defect. He can only get his senior officers, so he had to get them off of the submarine in order to defect. And how do you get 100 seamen to want to get off a nuclear submarine? And basically they faked a nuclear accident where they would have to get off the ship. And it worked for the doctor as well. He actually made it look like it was the doctor's idea to get everybody off the ship. And so that's what he did. And so the second part was to figure out how to cooperate with the Americans and fake the destruction of the Red October. So what happened was that they got the crew off. They were rescued by a U.S. attack frigate, surface frigate. And so they're watching this sort of kind of watching the battle between what they think is an American submarine and the Red October. But it's not really an American submarine that's fighting their ship. It's actually another Russian submarine sent to destroy the Red October. And they're going through the motions. So whenever they see an explosion, it's like, yeah, we're winning, or yeah, the Americans are running away, or something like that. And then they see this huge explosion, and they're like, they start taking off their hats because they think that their sub has been destroyed. And that was part of the plan. You had to make the Russians think that the Red October was destroyed in order to hand it over to the Americans, or they might have destroyed the Red October. That was another option, but they would rather just hand it over. And so that is, it basically went all according to plan.
I also want to add, I think he knew that there was a spy, because when he asked, tell me, what are the others on here? Is there another officer on here, another spy on here? I was like, no, if there was, I would have known, you know. That's why I'm pretty sure that's where he had the doctor and the chef there. He was like, you see this? I took his key.
Yeah.
You two are my witnesses that I took his key.
Yeah. He knew that it was a spy. He had no idea who it was. I don't think that he suspected the doctor, but he definitely didn't suspect the cook.
You see John's like, you're a cook. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, right,
What?
right. Yeah, Jack Ryan says, the cook? So, yeah, that was good. And then the other part, which is also my favorite part, was when the Admiral played by James Earl Jones, when he went, and he was like, yeah, he blew up the missile like you said he did when he got within a certain 100 meters of, I think 300 meters or whatever, of the submarine. And he said, now here's what happened. You heard that missile hit the hull, and I was never here.
Pull out his badge, like, you see that? There's you know who I am.
Right, you know what this is. I wasn't here. Now carry on.
Like, another good one was when the Russian admiral, he's there like, we had a second submarine. We lost contact with it. And the guy was like, you lost a second submarine?
Yeah.
What's wrong with you? We already did this research, looking for it, couldn't find it. Oh well. Now you lost a second one.
You lost the second submarine.
What do you want, a second search? Like, come on, no. I'm off the office. Go.
Right.
Come on, maybe in the future, yeah, we can look for it when we have the technology. Right now, get out, leave.
We got to take that up with the president. I ain't got time for this nonsense. So that was also a great part. My favorite parts are basically the same ones that you pointed out, and I like I said earlier, I like the whole total package of the movie. The way it was put together was done quite brilliantly. I like the how they showed the audience just enough to catch on what was going on, and then but not everything. And so you would see the plan basically come to fruition as it played out. I looked at the Rotten Tomatoes score. It has a 89% critic score and 88% audience score, and so we're in agreement with the critics. And let's see, Mike Macy from Gone with the Twins, he said, with enough corkscrew plot to keep everyone guessing, and with plenty of edge-of-your-seat suspense, this high-stake espionage thriller never misses a beat. You know what? I think he's right. Sarah Cartland from Caution Spoilers said, with a chilly majesty to its scale, despite its confined locations, this is a supremely confident film with the courage of its convictions as the story slowly and steadily unfolds. 30 years on it still packs a powerful punch, the tension ratcheting. And I agree. That's all I can say about that.
I'm pretty sure you had this in Now Today, people would still like it.
Yeah. I think these are recent reviews. These like she mentioned that how the movie is 30 years old. See, it holds up remarkably because we're watching it in the future, so it's not about present time. It's actually, since the movie was made in 1990, but the events in that movie take place in 1984 or 85, something like that. It had to take place before Gorbachev, so it takes place in the past. So that's one of the reasons it holds up really well. It's basically a period piece.
I'm sure if I showed a little kid this movie, say, look at this. This happened in the past. This is a real event. What you see here is just a reenactment, but this really did happen. They would believe me.
Oh yeah. It's easy to believe it. The realism in the movie. That's another thing I like. The realism is impressive. A lot of the background characters were actual naval officers. I don't want to say naval officers, probably, but they were actually service members. They were U.S. A lot of them were U.S. service members. A lot of the jargon sounded real and authentic. I'm sure they probably flubbed a little bit. I'm sure if an actual submarine operator came on and they was like, "We would never say that," but to me, it sounded great. It sounded real. So obviously the U.S. Navy actually gave a lot of assistance to making this movie because they looked at it as a recruitment tool. They actually had, when the theater opened, they actually, in some locations, they had recruitment officers at the movie theater trying to recruit people to join the Navy.
That's a very sneaky tactic. Come on, you like the movie? Join the Navy. You might be able to do some of that stuff. You might never know. Go ahead, take the pamphlet.
Yeah, there's a lot of military movies, or any movie that features the U.S. military. They usually get a lot of assistance from the U.S. government and the U.S. Armed Forces. So they'll make sure that their equipment is available, their planes are available, they provide the expertise. They actually charge the movie theaters for the use of a lot of their equipment, but you got to make that money. There's one particular movie that notably did not get a lot of help from the military or the government, and that was the first Avengers movie, Marvel's Avengers. And that's because in the Avengers, they had an element of kind of like a secret world organization. They had SHIELD, and SHIELD answered to a bunch of international, I guess, spy agencies or whatever, officials. They were like a kind of shadowy personnel. And they were apparently officials high up in their individual governments. But see, they had a hard time explaining that to like the government or the military. So because the military, it didn't really fall within the how the military understood like chain of command. It's like, so what is this agency? Well, it's a world spy organization. It was like, that doesn't make any sense to us.
I mean, just give them a comic book. I'm pretty sure that'll help them understand even more than trying to talk it to them.
Yeah, but see, they don't they don't really agree with the world spy agency. That doesn't make sense to them. So that's the reason why they didn't like if they were to make the agency like strictly a U.S. agency, then they probably would have been on board with it. But because it was a world spy agency to something like to somebody who works at the CIA, that doesn't make any sense. so that's why they didn't want to give their assistance. So yeah, that, like when you see a lot of military movies, especially in the 80s and 90s, a lot of those were really military recruitment films. You had like Top Gun, you had what's the other one? Officer and the Gentleman. That's another one of my favorite ones.
Independence Day?
I mean, yeah, but not really. Not in the same sense. It features the military, but it wasn't as hardcore as some of these other ones that I mentioned. So there was another one that was real popular in the 80s called Iron Eagle, and that didn't make sense to me. It's like this kid, it doesn't seem like the kid actually joins the military, but he's allowed to fly military planes. I don't get it, but somehow.
Sure. Yeah, go ahead. Let the military have a little kid fly a plane.
Right.
And that makes total sense.
No, not a little kid. He's probably like 21 or 22 years old, something like that. He's a young man, but still, he wasn't actually. I guess I would have to watch the movie again, but it never seemed to me that he was actually in the military. So how is it that they allow you to fly a military plane if you're not actually in
I'm pretty
the
sure
military?
he just lied about the age and lied about his, his rank. Like, I'm 30. My rank is, corporal, whatever.
Yeah, I don't know.
Worry about it. Let me get on that plane. I want it. I can fly it.
Maybe
I play the game. I can fly it.
Maybe I liked it, but it's still even at the time I watched it, it didn't make any sense. But yeah, the other thing that I liked about the movie was the score. The music was it was like a combination of like Russian opera and like I guess modern cinematic type score. So we didn't even talk about it on the last podcast. Some of the most important things that really gives you the feel of the movie is a score. You got to have that music. You have to have that thing that will, I don't know, they provide the atmosphere. And I think the music for this movie provided the proper atmosphere. The music was provided by Basso Polidorus. I think I'm saying that right. There are a lot of people on these lists where they got names where I'm like, I don't know how you say that. But he also did the music for RoboCop, The Blue Lagoon, Conan the Barbarian. He also did a little bit of acting and stuff like that. But yeah, that like his music for RoboCop, that's classic. It's classic. That's a classic soundtrack right there. I'll listen to it in my car. What did you think of the music?
Yeah, it was pretty nice. It worked well for the movie, especially in the beginning part where it's nice and settled, then it gets loud and gets quiet, and go back to nice and settled. Right.
So yeah, if you haven't seen Hunt for the Red October, I'd encourage you to check it out. This movie checks out well with my son, and I enjoyed it when I was growing up. How would you compare it to Rambo? Would you like it? Did you like it more or less than you like the Rambo movie?
I like Red October more.
Yeah.
I put it above Rambo.
Right.
Rambo's fine where it's at.
That is the proper assessment. That is the correct answer. So yeah, there you go. Hunt for the Red October. It's a great movie. Go check it out. That's all I got to say. Thank you for joining us. This has been Alonzo Richardson.
Zachary.
And we will see you in the next episode, or you will hear us on the next episode of the Backlook Cinema Podcast. Have a nice one.